ride home from the double doink, I set the fire alarm off in the plane, which is not a good thing. So we can vape on our plane a little bit. Like we were doing a little vaping there, Jules, in the back. And,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I had hit the pen a little too hard maybe, because the fire alarm wasn't going off for a while there. And then I went in the bathroom. Everybody was asleep. I go back to sit in my chair, and all of a sudden it's like, bing, 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 like 1 a.m. on the way home from double doink, bro.
I heard on Cody Parkey's flight, he hit the pen, and he just missed setting off the fire alarm. So,
Games with Names presented by WynnBET. Download WynnBET app and join the team today, guys and ladies. January 6, 2019, Soldier Field, Chicago, Illinois.
with 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Chicago's down 16-15. Cody Parkey lines up for the kick.
This is the double doink game. Hello, and welcome to Games with Names presented by WynnBET. I'm Julian Edelman.
I'm Sam Morril.
And we're about to search for the greatest games of all time.
Today's episode, the Double Doink Game, 2018 NFC Wildcard, January 6th. That's what this date is known for, obviously. The Double Doink Game and nothing else. Eagles versus Bears.
Our guests, little awkward. They both have the same last name. Chris Long, Kyle Long, are they related? I don't know. We'll find out.
This game is crazy. I mean, this is brutal. If you're a Bears fan, first off, those winters are hard enough.
They are very tough. It is a windy city, I believe, Sam.
I think that, yeah.
It's on the lake, right?
Oh, dude. It's that city. Have you been there in the heat of winter?
I played in a snow game in Chicago, and it was as cold as it is, and whatever everyone wants to say about it, going to Soldier Field. It's got like the old skeleton of the old soldier. They renovated the inside. It was so fun. It's such a cool game. There's so much history there. Defense, 85 Bears, Ditka, Bulls, Bears. I mean, Chicago it's a great sports town.
It's an incredible sports town. It's an incredible city. I mean, I think Ferris Bueller. It's Chicago, dude.
That is an unbelievable. So that parade,
yeah,
that was the inspiration of what I felt when we had our Super Bowl parades. I was trying to be Ferris Bueller up on that stage, doing the twist, doing this. I mean, Chicago being a great sports town, but then you have the Philadelphia Eagles.
Another great sports town. They're psychos. I mean, we all think about the eating the poop in the parade. Remember that?
Or the throwing of batteries at Santa Claus.
I mean, psycho fans in Philly, whether they're killing Santa or eating feces, you guys care.
They care a lot.
Too much, some would say.
Got in a crazy argument over a guy. He was making fun of my haircut all game long in Philadelphia. I thought it was a good haircut.
What was he saying?
I don't know. I had these two zigzags or something in the back of my head. He's like, "Hey, Edelman, you're not cool enough for that." I'm like, "Hey, F you, dude." But no, but my first reaction to this game, we just go in and we just talked about how special Chicago is in sports. My first reaction is this always going to happen to Chicago?
I mean, they had the 90s Bulls.
They had the 90s Bulls, but we're talking football. It's been 80 since the 85 Bears.
Yeah.
85 Bears, which was considered one of the best teams of all time that only won one Super Bowl.
Did this team have championship aspirations?
I mean, they traded for Cleo Mack. First game, comes out, has a huge game. Their defense is roaring that year. Their defense
is tough.
Insane. They got Mitchell Trubisky, who's the second pick overall. In this game, played pretty decent.
That last drive was impressive.
And I mean, he did everything the team needed him to do to get his team into field goal range. Roulette situation, meaning the time is more important than the points. They sucked down all the time as much as they wanted. They tried to get Parkey out there to go out and kick a field goal, and the rest is history.
He set it up. That double doink hits the side, hits the bottom. Like, how do you... The bad luck you have to... That's literally like being on a flight that's going down, and as you're going down, someone punches you in the face.
And
it's brutal.
Very brutal, and it's honestly it sucks for the special teams of Chicago because all game long, the punter inside the 5,
He was killing it.
Parkey, he had some good field goals going into half. What do you have, 3 or 4? Jack, how many field goals do you have?
Parkey was 3 for 4. Hit one at the end of the first half to put him up 6-3. So yeah, he was all right.
I mean, he was having a decent game. And then, they have the kickoff return by who was that, Jackie? 29?
I want to say Tariq Cohen.
Incredible run.
Incredible run.
Everything seemed to go right until the doink.
The second doink.
The second doink.
The first doink, you're like, it's doinking in.
Yeah.
The second doink, it doinked out. Jackie, what do you got?
That was Josh Bellamy on the second return.
Josh Bellamy.
Not to be confused with Bill Bellamy.
No. Of course not.
Can't confuse that, Jack. I mean,
who was in Any Given Sunday, a movie we've referenced
about
Wide
5
receiver.
times.
Yeah,
5 times. Let's go back. Let's go back to January 6th, 2019. January 6th, 2019. What were you doing then?
2019. I was a comic on the road, just doing. I don't know which city I was in at the time, but I was out there. How about you?
2019.
That was a good year for you, right?
No, that was the beginning of the end.
That's true. Damn, that's right. That was
the year that we got kicked out of the first round of the playoffs. Damn. And Tom Brady left us. No, not in 2019. Yeah, 2019. The beginning. Oh.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to tell him what, but I remember it being good for him. But
actually, we won the Super Bowl that year. I did not get hit in the head a lot in my career.
You won the Super Bowl in 2019.
We won the Super Bowl in 2018. So that's the thing. A 2018 season ends in 2019. It's kind of like when you graduate high school. I always think about 04, but I was really 05 because I was on the 04 football team on varsity. So like you always... It's the same. I don't know.
No, we get it.
We had a good year. We had a good year this year. We were doing well. But what was going on in pop culture?
The number one movie in America was Aquaman, which I did not see. Amber Heard's life has changed a lot since then. This was pre a lot of that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
I never saw it either. I mean, the dude is a beast. What's his name?
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, he's like good looking, yoked, exotic.
Yeah, he's got it all.
He's got it all, but I just never saw it. I never got in it. Ridiculous trends, fancy Crocs.
Doesn't that eliminate the purpose of Crocs? Have you seen the high heel Croc? It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Pull it up. It's a Croc with high heels. So it's ugly and it's uncomfortable. It's like having sex with an ugly person with a bad personality. Look at this. Look at that. Who would wear that?
Oh my! I wonder if they're comfy.
They don't look comfy.
That's gotta be. Are they hard to walk in?
Hey, look, they're high heels. They can't be easy.
But you would think with the high heel, and I don't know this from any experience or anything, but I'm just saying, you probably want something stiff to step down on, so you're not like your stability. I don't know that. It's
a bad idea. There was the Marie Kondo minimalism, which annoyed the hell out of me because we're New Yorkers. Our spaces are small. You have a TV and a desk in New York. You're a hoarder, basically. That's our space. So the minimalism, that's great if you're in the Midwest. You got a lot of space. New Yorkers, we have to make do with small space.
Got to. What does this even mean? What was this? Can you explain this to me? What is this?
It was like get rid of everything that didn't have meaning to you.
Yeah, I'm a hourder.
I'm a hoarder, dude.
I'm a hoarder. You know, I yell at my mom for it. I'm like, Mom, can you throw this away? And then I look at my place. I'm like, that's a ticket stub from 10 years ago. Why do I have this? I used to have a Hall & Oates cover band. I still couldn't throw it away.
Oh, dude, it's impossible.
I just love my shit.
I did a bit on Last Comic Standing back in the day where I said I used to date a hoarder and she broke up with me, which stung. I was like the one thing she can get rid of. That was... And Norm Macdonald was one of the judges. He was like, "That's a great joke," and I was like, "Norm, I'll take it."
R.I.P. dog.
Norm was a legend. So yeah, this was 2019. And
The egg on Instagram, 54 million likes. Do we have a picture of that, Jackie?
What was that? That was so weird.
I mean, the things that people like these days.
And that's how divided America is an egg is the only thing we can agree on.
It was the color?
That.
Why was this so big, Jack?
I have honestly no idea.
You know, there's some white supremacist group that was like, why does it have to be a brown egg? Why can't it be a white egg? Eggs are usually white, right? You know, that was like a KKK talking point. This is a disgrace. What else? The Fire Festival doc, that was solid.
That was very good. I mean,
that dude, you remember that dude's face, the one who said he would suck dick for water?
No,
remember the dude I'm talking? Everyone remembers it. That guy was the man.
Could you imagine spending a bunch of money? And this is like in the heat, right before 2020 and COVID and everything. So like festivals were like roaring. Everyone's going to this. Everyone's going to that. Could you imagine showing up to an island that looked like pretty much, I don't want to say it, but it looked like an internment camp. I mean, it was,
some would say it was like Nazi Germany.
I'm just saying,
some would
bad. It looked bad. And I'm not trying to poke no fun. We don't poke fun.
Can you imagine how much
Jewish? We are both Jewish.
Can you imagine how bad the Holocaust would have been if Ja Rule was promoting it? You're like, Jesus, this is terrible.
But it was Ja Rule like 10 years out of his prime.
Yeah. He's still shirtless for some reason, but you're like, I don't.
I did love that one song by John. Everybody, the lady.
He had
some good stuff. He had some good stuff.
Oh, dude, how about, do you ever see the clip of Ja at the Bucks game where he's like, are you ready? And they have a technical difficulty and he's like, never mind. He had to like retake and I was like, this is a bummer.
No, I never saw that one, Sam. I never saw that one. This is
highlights from the world of sports in 2019.
This is the Clemson, Trevor Lawrence versus the Alabama, Tua Tagovailoa. Did I say that right, Jack?
That was correct.
Thank you, Jackie. It's where they met in the title game. Clemson won. This is the one time Alabama didn't get there in the last 5 years. That turned out to be an interesting game. Two elite quarterbacks in college that really haven't found their run, their legs in the league yet. Which that brings up a point. Everyone wants to say, oh, well, they had good. Sometimes it's the best ecosystem you're drafted to, and anytime you're drafted number 1 or number 2, you're probably not going to a good ecosystem.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up that you're the best, and they're like, enjoy Jacksonville.
It's like it's very hard, man. That's got to be very hard to be, I mean, there's guys that have done it. Peyton Manning, he flipped an organization, but it was tough, very tough.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine going to a team that won one game? No one goes to the games. You're coming from Clemson. It's lights out. It's like Nirvana every time you go to a game in college. Then you got to go to Jacksonville,
and it's like the end of Nirvana.
It's the end of Nirvana, and like I've never been to Jacksonville like that, but I mean, I can only imagine.
Yeah,
that there's probably like Applebee's, which could be a good.
Florida's
sponsor.
hit or miss as a state. Let's be honest.
It is.
Florida's got some banger cities, and they've got some where you're like, this sucks. I got COVID in Orlando, and I'm lucky that's all I got. Let's put it that way.
Terrible. So hot.
Oh my! I've never been more pro-choice in my life than on a flight back from Orlando. Kill all these kids. I wanted to suffocate one with my travel pillow on the flight.
Oh my God! So what? We got these tweets.
Yeah, we got. What did Julian tweet this day? We don't have a record of that. Oh, we have mine. What did I do? What was it? Can we zoom in?
What did Sam tweet? The premiere of The Masked Singer was weird.
Was that just the Gimp from Pulp Fiction? Is that what I got? That was fun.
Didn't Gronk do the Masked Singer? He did.
Man, that show's got range. Gronk and Rudy Giuliani. That's crazy. They're all over the place.
Man, Gronk does it all.
He does. He's in every a jack of all trades.
Really, we just did Gronk Beach over in Vegas, and I'm still recovering. That was 2 weeks ago. So let's get to the teams.
So the 2018 Philadelphia Eagles were 9-7. They were the defending Super Bowl champs.
Who'd they beat?
I don't remember.
I don't know. They beat
Some of us have definitely blocked that out.
I wasn't playing. I was actually at that game, and I was with Guy Fieri, and I was supposed to go sit in his box, but it was owned by the Indianapolis Colts. So I literally sitting with Guy Fieri in the box, and someone from the Colts organization makes me leave.
What?
They made me leave the box. So I end up going into some random...
Why'd they make you leave? Because you're a Patriot?
I guess. I mean...
Does Guy stand up for you?
No, I mean, Guy was trying everything he could, but I think it was someone really high up over there, which, that kind of hurt my feelings, but,
That's messed up, dude.
I met some dude randomly at a different box, literally sitting with random fans in another box, watching this Super Bowl. It was something I'll never forget.
What was Guy eating? Do you remember?
He was probably eating, no, I don't. I was out of the box, Sam. I didn't get to sit with him.
No, you don't even have any Guy. Oh, does Jack know what he was eating?
I believe
Is that good?
Jules, was Chris Ballard ring any bells? That was the GM of the Colts at the time.
Yeah, I don't know if it was him. I'm not going to put out no names there, but I definitely got taken out almost in handcuffs. And then another story. Remember Kyle Shanahan? We talked about him in a previous episode, how he was going to the Niners. I had a couple grandpa's old cough medicines that game, so I was feeling kind of frisky. Go to the bathroom, which I thought all boxes usually have their own bathrooms, but there's like a public bathroom for these boxes over in Minnesota. It was a little weird to me, but I go in there and I'm taking a piss, and this guy starts talking about the Super Bowl the year before. I'm like, who is this guy? I'm a little hammered. I got a little buzz on. And he's like,
you're urinal to urinal.
Urinal to urinal.
Yeah.
And, and I'm like, all right, dude, yeah. And I look over. He goes, you don't know who I am? And I go, I really don't. And he goes, oh, I'm Kyle Shanahan. Nice to meet you.
He did the handshake midstream?
Not midstream, but like we were leaving, going to Sinks. And I was like, man, I never really knew how you looked. And we played him the year before. He asked me some personal things, and I was like, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
That's out of a movie, urinal to urinal.
Urinal to urinal.
Dicks out.
Full.
Chatting. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, so this is, this was a crazy game leading up to this. So they're the champs that, coming out being champs. Foles, again, replaces Carson Wentz. I mean, it's like being an understudy where you're like, but I'm doing better. Isn't that weird?
Well, I think Carson Wentz this year, he was having an MVP type year.
Well,
the year before?
The year before he was balling out. But then this year he wasn't that good, right? And it's got to be weird. Wentz is the guy who comes in with all the heat to Philly, and Foles is the one who brings him the Super Bowl.
And he leaves as Philly's child.
Yeah.
He's literally, the city of brotherly love?
Yeah.
They love some big dick Nick.
Yeah. Does he have a big dick? Have you been to the urinal with him?
I have not been in the urinal with him, but there are so many rumors and talks. And this is
I'm gonna get to a urinal next.
And this
is
a different conference and different division. And I'm hearing this through the grapevine. So I mean that's what we got.
And it's kind of funny. He shares a backfield with a guy named Smallwood. In 2018.
I think so highly of Jack. I think he's gonna come in and be like, we have Nick's dick. It is 8.5 inches. I'm like, wow, nice. Good work, Jack. I'm gonna pull up to a urinal next to Nick and be like, Nick, you don't know who I am, do you? I know you've got a big pipe.
Whip out the ruler.
I know Julian Edelman. He says you have a big dick. And he'll be like, security. So this is, the second season Foles is set to replace Wentz. Super weird. They needed a win in Week 17 against Washington for a playoff berth, and they got it. So here they are. This is crazy. So many things aligning for Philly 2 straight years.
Alshon Jeffrey goes out and has a little revenge game against the Bears. He was with the Bears before. Darren Sproles, a guy that we haven't seen in a while. But this was in the heat of when Darren Sproles was Darren Sproles. Unbelievable third down running back.
Crazy career.
Ran I always got so mad that I had to play in his era because he always took the Pro Bowl for punt return because he was so goddamn good. And then you had Zach Ertz, who's clearly a stud for that team. The Chicago Bears, on the other hand, they picked to finish last in their division. They had Nagy. It was his first or second year. The very first game, they trade for Cleo Mack, which everyone's like pissed at the Raiders for letting him go, but it makes that defense elite. They get on a crazy record. They have Mitchell Trubisky drafted second overall in his second season. They bring offensive-minded guy for Nagy, for Mitch, doing good things. They're 12-4 in the first year. I mean, things were looking to be pretty good for these Bears. Like, they were going into this game probably feeling confident. Won 9 out of their last 10 games, so they're getting wins left and right. Yeah. And they beat the Vikings in Week 17 to help Philly actually make the playoffs. Crazy. So, like, I bet you they were already in. They probably a little pissed that they won that one.
Good season for Trubisky, by the way. 3,223 yards, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 3 rush touchdowns, but you've said to me that you didn't like how much he ran.
Not always.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's great to have your quarterback run, but I like seeing the quarterbacks that run with their eyes downfield, a la Aaron Rodgers, a la Patrick Mahomes, a la Josh Allen, guys that are on some elite teams that are playing at a high elite level. They have escapability just like, Mitch does. Mitch has that ability, but they keep their eyes downfield. And that's something, watching these games over the years with Mitch, he's gotten better over his year. Last year, being a guy that sat on the bench, got to watch Josh Allen in Buffalo. It'll be interesting to see what he does this year with the Steelers. I'm sure he's going to be a lot more matured, and hopefully he keeps those eyes downfield.
Yeah.
Things we remember from this game.
I mean, it's named the Double Doink. You gotta start with that.
You remember that is probably one of the most painful ways to lose a playoff game.
Yeah.
Having a PAT type field goal to win in a city that, when's the last time they've won a playoff game? It's probably been 15 years back when Urlacher was on the team. So like,
and he's a good kicker, and he's set up to win.
I mean, was he a good kicker?
I feel like he was pretty good.
I mean, he was a good kicker that day. He was 3 for 3 going into that last kick.
And he made it before they called a timeout, and it went through. So that sucks.
The ice,
dude.
The ice. They iced the kicker, and it worked.
Laces out, dude. Einhorn.
Parkey had hit the upright 6 times prior to that season. 4 coming in a game against Detroit.
That's crazy. That's not good.
No. And a lot of this goes back. This game was in 2019, but a lot of it dates back to 2016 when they cut Robbie Gould and had a revolving door of kickers.
Revolving door of kickers.
Yeah. Connor Barth, Cairo Santos, Mike Nugent. And then
Mike Nugent.
Yeah.
Ted Nugent's son?
Is Nick Foles the most confounding regular season playoff quarterback? What do you think?
I'm still trying to figure out what confounding means.
Are you confused? I mean, he's there. You're like, what is he doing here?
There's some guys that just turn it on. Your guy, Eli Manning.
He turned it on hard.
Really, really hard. And that's what Nick did. And, he's had some success. And it's good to hear those stories, guys that bounced around. I thought he was a really good quarterback in Arizona for a while. Then he didn't find his team, finds this. I mean, that's what it's all about, is about these types of stories. And I'm so excited to hear from the Long brothers about these inside stories, because they're both going to have some stories on Foles and Chicago.
Brothers on opposing teams in a huge game. I mean, this is what it's all about.
Playoff game, opposing team. How many times do you think they probably had this scenario back in the backyard with Howie Long over there with the ball in his hand saying, hey, you got to get here, you got to get there? Like, they probably had this in their, this had to be kind of deja vu-y from like childhood.
Who does Howie Long text first? Which son?
Got to be the winner, right? Or did they have a group text?
It's got to be a group text.
It's got to be a group text. Now, it's you obviously mom's probably wearing the half cut jersey with a half this long, half that long. You know, have you seen that?
I like those. Yeah,
those are always fun.
That's nice, but it's really only for. It's not worth making. It's only for the parents, really.
It really
else
is. You can only do parents. You can only do parents. And the crazy thing is, that's one of the best. They got to be close to one of the best families in the league. You got the Matthews, you got the Slaters,
the Mannings.
I mean,
the Harbaughs as coaches, that was pretty crazy too.
Harbaughs. This is a huge football family. I'm excited to get these guys in. Things we may have forgotten. That no one wants to talk about. The number one thing that comes to my mind. The ball was deflected. Parkey got ran out of town. Ball was deflected.
Barely deflected.
Barely deflected. Yeah, but that can
just a tip.
It hit just the tip, but that could really mess up the what is it? Trajectory?
Yeah.
Is that right, Jackie?
Yeah.
Trajectory, yes.
Thank you, Jack. It could really mess up the trajectory of the football. So, is it the kicker's fault? Is it the left tackle's fault? Is it the left wing's fault? Is it the center's fault for giving them a good jump? Whose fault is it? We're gonna ask these long boys whose fault it was.
I picture them fighting for their dad's love, like it's Succession. Don't you see? You just picture Howie Long being a monster.
And there's another Long too. There's another Long kid.
A lot of Longs.
I think he's in scouting. This was what do we got, Jackie?
Weird one, but this was Howie Long's 59th birthday.
Wow.
The day of the game.
Howie Long's 59th birthday.
He looks great.
He looks, dude. Howie Long. He's had can we get Howie on the show? Screw the Suns, man. He's the rock star.
Instead of a game, let's watch Broken Arrow and have Howie Long on the show.
Wasn't he in another one? He was in a couple movies. Firestarter.
Let's get Howie Long and John Travolta on together. Let's make it happen.
I think we can make that happen.
Or was that Christian Slater? Or was it both of them?
Both. Slater and Travolta. That's a 90s heater.
That's a 90s heater. Travolta was on a kick.
Boy. That was right after Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Because he was dying for a while, and then Pulp Fiction got him.
Thank you, Tarantino, for bringing back Travolta.
Parkey went on the Today Show after the double doink.
That's why are you doing a press tour after that? That's brutal.
That's one of those kind of games where you want to hide for a while.
Yeah, why are you going on the Today? What are you going
Einhorn and Finkel. You might have to change.
Did Matt Lauer say, "Don't worry, things are about to get way worse for me than they are for you"?
I don't know. Oh. And now this is the part of the show where we go to the gaming corner presented by WynnBET. The relevant betting lines. The spread, Chicago minus 6.5.
Yeah.
6.5. You know how many points that is in the league?
That's a lot.
That's pretty much a blowout if you're getting that many points on a spread.
People did not believe in this Eagles team.
They didn't. Well, they were like that. They had to win to get in, right? They had to win to get in a couple
9-7.
times.
Yeah.
That NFC East has always got like a 7-10 or a 7-9 team that sneaks in, and they're always Giants did it.
I feel like they're always in the NFC East.
They are.
Yeah.
They really are. The Giants and Philly have done it twice.
That division is always a bloodbath.
Bloodbath.
Yeah.
Finals over and under 49. That was clearly under. This was a defensive stout field position game. Once again, the Bears punter was doing very good. What we got, Jackie?
Weirdly, 11 plays of 15 yards or more in this game, even though it went way under the total.
Wow. 11 explosion plays, and they still didn't get close to the under or over.
What should we do for the prop bet this week?
Once again, guys, our prop bet that we always have during our interview, me and Sam and I, we go over something that we can do, say, have the interviewee say, and we make like a line on it, right? Am I explaining this right?
How about this? Can we get Julian to say brother versus brother fighting for daddy's love? How many times can we get him to say that? Will that ruin the interview?
No, I think I can get that.
You can get that out?
I think I can get that. Brother versus brother fighting for daddy's love.
Let's try. Can we get that twice? Can you say it 2 times on the interview? I'll take the over. Right.
I'm taking the over on that. What are you
do it.
taking? You taking the under?
I'm taking the over. I think you can pull it off. I believe in you.
All right. We're going to hear from Chris Long and Kyle Long, but before that, let's take a quick break.
Games with Names is brought to you by WynnBET. It's my favorite app, and it could be yours. Go download it now.
Welcome, fellas, to Games with Names. We got Chris and Kyle, my favorite Long, other than Howie Long. I mean, Howie's.
Hey, bronze
real
medal's
deal,
still
holy
pretty
fool.
good.
But what'd you say?
The bronze medal. If I get the bronze medal in the Long family, you know, if you
Well,
like
actually,
me,
like isn't
Howie
there a scouting
Jr.
brother?
Yeah,
There's a scouting
so maybe
brother
fourth.
too.
Yeah,
He's got
Yeah,
the
you're
long. He's
fourth.
got the long play there too.
I'm off the podium.
Yeah, so we're joined here with Chris Long, my dear friend, former teammate, 2-time Super Bowl champ, 2nd pick overall in the 2008 draft, which means he got paid a boatload of money. They didn't have that cap thing on, so this man has made a lot of money. Walter Payton Man of the Year in 2018. Chris, am I right?
Yeah, sounds about right. I
This
think,
guy's got
yeah.
a water charity where he feeds and delivers water to countries across
We
the
prefer
world.
quench, Jules.
Quench. You know, we quench the thirst of these people. And he's the host of the Green Light, an amazing podcast. We're also joined by his studly brother, a man that I worked out with in 2012 when he was coming out for the draft. He went and played baseball first, committed to Florida State, decided for some odd reason, we'll leave it at that he didn't want to play baseball, wanted to use that 6'6" frame, 312 pounds of solid muscle to try to play in the National Football League as a professional lineman to block people like his brother. Dear friend, he was drafted 20. When were you drafted,
Just
bro?
20. You had it.
20?
Exactly.
I
He
had
was
you in the
drafted
teens.
really good.
I was 20,
2013.
which,
No,
was,
that-
well, which
oh,
was
you-
well above where my dad had fooled me into thinking I was going to go.
20, you can do the doubter tweets on draft day.
Dad had me convinced I was a 4th rounder.
Yeah. Dad had
When
me
did you get
convinced.
drafted?
Dad had me convinced I should play offensive line in college.
He's not. I mean, he's not an idiot.
He's a very
first off.
he's a very humbling figure in
Yeah.
many ways.
We weren't as lucky
Well,
as you. We didn't get to have the ball in our hands, Jules. So
Yeah.
we had to be. Everything was dictated by a guy who had his hand in the dirt from day one. And
Yeah.
when he saw us kind of hit puberty, he was like, "Oh yeah, Chris, you're gonna be this. Kyle, you're gonna be this."
Yeah, he had us slotted.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. You guys know why we have you on here to what we're talking about?
Games with names.
No idea.
Games with
Jules.
names.
Yeah.
What's the game?
The double doink game. Do you guys remember this?
I am very well versed in the double doink game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I
what
remember
are
that
your
game,
first-
Kyle. Do you
We're gonna take a look at some games that we played in together,
Okay.
and we are going to discuss from our perspectives
Is
how
this
things
the-
were going.
is
Right?
this is the premise of the show?
This is the premise of the show. Games with names,
Okay.
guys.
I love
this
it.
is the double doink game.
Yeah.
We want to
Okay.
get your
we
inside
were both in it.
perspective.
I'm happy to
What's
talk
the
about it.
first thought you have from that game? What's the first thing that comes in your mind?
Honestly, it was talking to your buddy, the lineman that was lined up for field goal block, because the way this thing went down was we drilled Trubisky on like a 3rd down, backed up, and he hit this. I mean, it was a beautiful throw,
A floater over the middle of the field
Yeah.
between the hashes.
and now they're set up to win the game. And like our team's pretty good, but we weren't sure that we were going to beat the Bears. It was a really tough environment. They're lining up for a field goal. This game's about over. I think my career is pretty much over. And your guy across the line from me, I can't remember his name, was like, "Hey man, think about it. You'll be on vacation next week. It's all good." And he was really trying to cheer me up.
We
Trying
need
to
his
figure out who
name.
that'd be. So let me give you
Who was
mine.
that?
10 seconds later,
Oh.
right? We're looking up at this thing floating and doinking and doinking again. And the thing I remember, and I'll never forget, was getting to the locker room and hearing from Trayvon Hester, who's an unheralded guy, unsigned cat. He was on special teams. that he tipped the ball, and none of us knew that. We thought Parkey is his name, right?
Yeah.
That he just plain shanked it. But Trayvon Hester got a hand on it, and we didn't learn until we got into the locker room. But by then, Parkey was like already on the hit list of 10,000 Bears fans.
Unfortunately for Cody Parkey, he's going to be infamous in the city of Chicago because of the fact that, as we all know, fans are educated, but they aren't PhD educated in the situation. They're not going to understand the nuance of a tipped ball that doesn't go on the stat sheet. But in film, when you look at it on Monday, you're going to see it. We're all going to know.
He probably could have hit it more square, though. Probably true.
I mean, yeah, it's 43 yards in December in Chicago. It's a bitch, you know?
It was 43?
43
Yeah, it was a
yards.
longer field goal. It was not.
I thought it was. I don't think it was 43. It was like 37.
Check it
What was
out. Google it.
Yeah, I mean, you could be.
43?
Matt, check it out.
But you're expecting him to make that.
Well, I mean,
Well, yeah.
at that point, we had put ourselves in position to win the game. It was 40. It was what?
It was that big country.
was
that big
43.
It was that big country ass dude
It
that you
was
play
for-
with.
it was
the country.
Brad Sowell.
Brad Sowell. Brad
legend.
Sowell was like,
So,
"Hey man, it's gonna be all right, man. You're gonna be on vacation next
shit,
week."
you gonna be in Turks and Caicos next week, big boy.
And
And
I
then
was like,
Chris is like,
I'm thinking the fucking mosquitoes. I have a lot of practice at going on vacation early for most of my career. So I mean,
That guy
vacation.
sounds like Will Ferrell in Eastbound and Down.
Yeah,
Whoever's
Ashley
talking.
fucking Schaefer.
what I remember
I sell
vividly.
fucking Kias.
What I remember vividly is a sense of guilt that I had because my teammate was taking a beating nationally in the media and locally in the media, and there were drives in that game as an offensive lineman where I didn't finish a block. I was, I let off. It wasn't a championship effort for whatever reason. There are plays that you always want to have back, even in Super Bowl wins. Jules, there are plays that you wish you could have back.
Always.
Chris wishes he could have back, and unfortunately, that game happened to be a loss for me. And it happened because of the Parkey kick. But I know that there were 4-minute drives, opportunities to bury the Eagles, and we didn't take advantage.
And that's how it goes. Even if whenever you win a game or you lose a game, you never think about the things you did well. You always think about the things you didn't do well. Like, I don't know if that was ever your case, Chris. Did you ever think that? Or you
Always,
always,
Yeah,
right?
mean,
You're always thinking about the worst stuff. I got a quick question. Did Mom come to the game?
She did. And
Everybody
did she
was
have
there.
one of
Split-
those?
she had the
those
split jersey?
Split jersey. Our
She
wives,
did? She had split
our
jersey.
wives had the cool, tacky embroidered jackets that I still make fun of to this day.
With the gemstones and shit.
Gemstone.
No,
denim.
Meg's anti.
I've seen the
gemstones.
pictures,
Speak for
Chris.
you. Like Meg did not have a bedazzled jersey.
Oh, Chris.
on. How much you want to bet?
Let's put $100 on it right now.
Put your baby on it.
I don't put
Actually,
children
I
up
don't
for
want
auction.
the baby.
Was your dad there?
Yes.
Yeah, Dad was there because
Yes.
I vividly remember after the game.
Ashton Kutcher.
So Ashton Kutcher was at the game because he's a huge Bears fan.
The biggest.
But I gotta tell you, Ashton Kutcher takes shit like harder than the players, bro. Like
Yes.
Ashton Kutcher was in the tunnel, like it was like, "Nice to meet you, Ashton." He was like, "Oh well, fuck, my life's over." And I'm like, dude, like my brother just fucking.
I didn't
worked-
get to meet him because I was so he's a big time guy, and I was kind of like, fuck, I was bummed out too.
Yeah, well,
you spoke to him
That's
because you're
hilarious.
cool.
That's hilarious that Ashton Kutcher said, "My life is over."
He didn't say that and
Bang
say
Mila
he-
Kunis.
He didn't
His
say,
eyes
yeah.
said that.
His eyes
What-
said
what-
that. And it's kind of like as a football player, like you're like, my brother just got his heart ripped out, bro. Like you're gonna be good.
And we're all standing there dapping it up, right? Like in the tunnel, the buses are all there hanging out, and it's the end of the season. So
Yeah, I hated that. I hated that for you because y'all's team was pretty good. You were probably, I don't know, a little bit.
it wasn't a good matchup with the Eagles team because of your defensive front. You guys had a very stout and skilled defensive front.
Yeah.
With the
I mean, it was
spearhead
a-
of it being Fletcher Cox. I mean, I had to deal
You
with
want
that.
you want Fletcher Cox to be the spearhead.
He likes Cox being spearheaded.
Cox goes in first.
Speary Cox.
Both your legs are incredible. You're making me feel terrible about my physique right now. Look at that. Holy crap.
Look at those calves, dude.
They go all the way
Look
up.
at that.
Yeah.
Hey, that's just
They go
brother
all the
versus
way
brother
up.
fighting for daddy's love.
Yeah, just like
Brother versus brother
we're in there doing
fighting
yeah.
for daddy's love.
Yeah, exactly.
Jules, you get it.
He gets it. No, honestly,
how many?
I'm good. Dad loves me. I'm good. Dad loves you. We're good. We don't need to fight over Dad's love.
We're
How
never going to
long
be Hall
after
of
the game-
Famers,
No,
though.
we're not going to be Hall of Famers. So
Is there a tech thread with you two and your dad after the game, or do you text each other? Like, how soon afterwards did you
private.
guys talk?
you go first because yours are different than mine.
The dealings with our dad. My dad wears many hats for me because he was my best man at my wedding. He's my best friend.
You see how he's trying to win that? He goes, he was my best friend. He was my best man at my wedding.
I have two. No, seriously though,
He pulled the
Chris
thing.
Chris can attest to this.
Here's what he did. This is pretty funny.
Let
though.
me finish.
Go finish, and then
Let
I
me
got
finish.
a bomb.
Chris
here.
can attest to this because I love Dad, and he'll talk to me like a friend, and then he'll talk to me like a rigid coach. The night before, with a 96 has chop spin inside. Third step, watch stutter underneath from 92. Be careful around piles around 56. He's a dickhead. That'll be like Chris, you know. He'll be texting me about Chris with his number without even mentioning.
He did that.
Like stuff like that, you know. Not that you're a dickhead, but stuff along those lines. And then after the game, it's a really good blend of get the coaching out of the way quick, and then how are you doing? Like, how are you feeling? How's your body? Do you need anything from me? I can fly somebody out to work on you tomorrow. Like that kind of stuff, Jules.
Yeah,
That's a good dad.
he's a great
But
dad.
who got the text first? Did
He's-
you get? So does Kyle gets the text first?
because Kyle.
I mean, I
okay.
text him first too if I was out of the.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I
looking
mean,
at
because
his
you
whole
like
thing.
him more, and so does my dad. But also the fact that Kyle's the younger guy, and Kyle's like respectfully, like
child.
you're younger than me, and like
I'm a child.
I've been there, I've been through it, and Dad's like Chris, you know, kind of that oldest son thing. It was like I don't worry as much about Chris.
You were
because-
born in the forest, son.
yeah,
You're gonna
like
be all right.
you know. So I think Kyle being younger and coming up in the league and not having the same, you know, kind of experience I had, like Kyle was definitely getting the scouting reports first. But here's what's fucked up. I didn't make Dad my best man, and you knew that, and then you did that, like to try to cuck
It wasn't
me. You
a,
cucked
it wasn't
me,
a
bro.
cuck move.
You cucked me, bro.
It wasn't intentional. I was probably baked as fuck when I made the decision.
Hey, guys, it's just brothers
He cucked
versus
me.
brothers fighting.
I never
for
thought
daddy's
about
love.
that until now.
I was probably on a golf course and I
really
got
what
a
it
text
is.
from my
You got
wife
it.
that said, you need to narrow down your list and you need to get who the fuck is coming to
pick
this
a
wedding.
best man.
And I'm like,
Howie. Let's
Put
get
your
into this
finger
game.
anywhere
Let's get
on
into
this
game.
picture. Yeah.
Let's get into this game, guys. So
Sorry.
defensive battle.
Yes. Yeah.
First quarter, I mean, no real big highlights. You guys are just kind of going back and forth. There's a couple field goals here. Parkey actually, you know, he made some decent field goals before the double doink.
Yeah.
So like going into this thing,
He was 3 for 3, right? Right before that, I think.
he was nails. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
3 for 3.
Nobody
You
talks
guys-
about that. You know.
no one talks about that. No one talks about that. You guys are 12-4 this year.
Because of the ending. No one talks about, you know, the
I
day
know, it's
Kennedy
the
was
truth.
shot. No one talks about what he had for breakfast.
He might have talked
you know?
about it on Good Morning America, but, you know, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, he did talk about it on Good
He
Morning
did go
America.
on Good Morning America.
I didn't
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah, he
Was
had a
this
whole
the best
tour.
defense though? Like, because you guys the Bears weren't supposed to be anything this year. You guys had a second-year quarterback, first-year coach, and Nagy. Like, and watching this game, Mitch didn't look that bad. He looked pretty good. He was making some throws. The defense, was it the best defense you played with in your career?
It was the best defense that I have practiced against and played with. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Why? How so?
I would say the polarity of the front with Khalil Mack on one side, with Leonard Floyd on the other, with Akeem Hicks anchoring the interior, with an unheralded run stopper by the name of Eddie Goldman, who is an absolute world beater on first and second down on inside run. The second level was Danny Trevathan, and I believe it was Roquan Smith's rookie year. On the back end, you had Kyle Fuller on one side. You had Prince
Fuller.
Amukamara on the other. On the back end, you had Eddie Jackson,
Giant.
who was out of Alabama, and he was an all-pro. He was putting up better than Ed Reed numbers from a productivity standpoint in that year. I'm not saying he's better than Ed Reed.
Yeah,
but
he wasn't tackling like Ed Reed.
in that year, he was putting up numbers like Ed Reed. It was fabulous to watch. And
So
then we
you think
played the
he's the-
Eagles, and they were more physical defensively, and that was the thing that did us in.
Now, did you going into this game? Did you have in the back of your head, like, because the Eagles every year that, you know, in the AFC or NFC East, they're always like sneaking in. They beat up each other all throughout that division, and then some team comes in 9-7, ends up going on a run just like they did the year before. Like, did you guys have that in the back of your mind? Like, oh, this team's actually pretty good, because you guys had the game in control. Somewhat.
We truly believe that it was our destiny to not only win that game but win out. I mean, we were thinking there's nobody that our defense can't stop, and to a certain degree that was true. The thing that ended up biting us was we were a little bit cute, in gotta have it situations. The whole stadium knows you're going to run the ball. We got a little bit cute at certain times, and
turnovers in the red area.
And a lot of coaches are guilty of that nowadays. It's not a one guy thing. And we didn't execute in the 4-minute situation. And I'd love to discuss it further here because I haven't rehashed it since.
We were.
Well, what did we not do right in the 4-minute situation? What was the situation? Why don't you explain situational football to us?
You know when they say I don't remember what you said, but I remember how it made me feel. That is how I feel about.
I know
this.
My girlfriend says that.
Yeah,
all the
that's
time.
the 4-minute situation in a nutshell to me. I haven't gone back and watched the game, but it was one of those things where you're walking off the field and the punt team's coming on the field, and you're thinking, that was the opportunity that we just pissed down our leg, and now the Eagles are going to celebrate on our field, and they did. They had their ski masks on the 50-yard, ski masks. The DBs.
Jules doesn't like some of this stuff.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
What do you mean I don't like that kind of stuff?
Well, let me finish. We're in the game here. We're doing games with names here, Jules. I got to stick to the game.
I'm just saying.
But he doesn't like the dog mask thing.
Dude, I mean, I hear you,
the
bro.
mask stuff. But here's the deal. You guys did the club dub thing. Here's the rule in pro football. Like, if you have a thing, like, and you get beat, people might do your thing.
But ours is in the locker room.
Well, we did it in our locker room.
On our 50-yard line.
Maybe we did it on the 50-yard line.
See, that's BS. I'm still calling BS.
Well, maybe you guys can get us back next time.
Emotional damage.
No, I just thought Kyle's an extremely physical player. He always was. And when we played them, I just didn't think they were physical up front. And I said that outright. I don't say that often, but I kind of said it because I was kind of pissed off for Kyle. Because I was like, they have good players, but their scheme wasn't physical. Like, they just didn't have a physical, like, kind of
downhill running game
way about them. Yeah, because as you know, Jules, like, your scheme is going to dictate how the personnel plays sometimes. You know, if you reinforce things through scheme, you know, guys are going to be what you want them to be. And I just didn't feel like they were physical in the run game enough. Now, Kyle is, because Kyle's just going to be physical. If we had the same
running plan that we did 2-3 years prior when we had Jordan Howard in the backfield, he was a Pro Bowl running back behind myself, Josh Sitton, Bobby Massey. It was Cody Whitehair. It was a really good interior three, tough group. And there was nobody that we couldn't line up on and ace and deuce. You know what I'm saying? There was nobody that we couldn't do that to. We didn't have that in 2018.
Can you explain to the listener what's an ace and a deuce?
So an ace block and a deuce block are examples of combination blocks in a gap scheme play. So you've often heard the term power in the running game. Power is where there is a pulling guard, and the guard is right next to the center. He pulls to the opposite A gap, and he swipes a match off. He strikes a match off of the deuce, tight to the deuce, and he hits the linebacker, and that should spring the running back, who is being sometimes led block by a fullback, sometimes not. Jules, these are personnel discussions for you. But I think power schemes, deuces and aces, are a staple in every run game you watch in the NFL. Sometimes you see power with no pullers. It's the same concept. It's just 2 deuces instead of 1 deuce and a puller.
Double deuce.
That's what the Cowboys run.
That's harder for the running back too, right?
Zach Martin, Travis Frederick made that famous in Dallas, and guys like Emmitt Smith, patient runners, have made a living being visionaries, quite literally, with their eyes and seeing things and hitting the holes with patience.
And I think, you know, as far as like a defense is concerned, we'd rather have like a standard power, because I'd rather, you know, be able to see what the puller's doing, have it tell that way.
Strength of the play.
Yeah, and, you know, a team like Dallas who can run that either way with a really good back is really tough to defend.
And a lot of teams now, so that's gap. A lot of teams now are running this zone stuff weak, so they line up 3 tight ends on the right side. Sam,
God, I hate it.
They line up 3 tight ends on the right side, and they pound the right side, and then on the third play they fake it. They roll out with a Mitch Trubisky type guy, or, you know, a Baker Mayfield who can get outside the pocket and launch it downfield. I don't know if Baker's arm is quite there right now, but
I don't know who he's
definitely not
be.
our guy Tua in Miami.
Okay. Dude, let's not.
Okay.
These people down here are fucking, you know, they're on bath salts tweeting me about Tua.
Miami, New York 2.0.
Anyways.
No Tua.
Where's Baker right now? What team is he in?
He's still with the Browns, technically.
He's complaining in Cleveland, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I mean, that's gotta. I know Deshaun Watson's good, but that's gotta hurt.
That's definitely gotta hurt.
I heard their second string is Harvey Weinstein, so that's really gotta hurt. But I don't know where he'll be playing. But I got to ask you, Chris, because, this team with the Eagles now, once they miss that field goal, are you thinking like Foles he's our guy again? We're going to do it again. Is that in your mind? Like, this is meant to be the way they missed it.
It's interesting because Jules, like, you've been through this. I think one of the things that makes the Pats great is it's not that they're great any given year. It's that they're going to be great every year. They're going to figure out a way to be great every year. Like, and that takes a lot. You could tell just by being there one year. And then, like, more specifically, when I first got to defend a championship, because I never got to defend one in New England, like, you realize the challenges of coming back and doing it again, because there are so many outside distractions. There's so many guys that just got the bag, whether it's on the field, off the field, they got paid. There's so many guys that just became stars. Like winning a Super Bowl, it's like it makes all these little kings. Like all these guys are walking around like all of a sudden we're hot shit.
I saw that in Kansas City.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not saying anybody in particular wasn't ready, more than anybody else, but it's just a general vibe. And that, go ahead, Jules.
Well, it's very tough. People don't realize when you become the sheriff, you're everyone's most wanted. Everyone's Super Bowls each week when you're the defending Super Bowl champions. And we're seeing that, everyone wants to say, we got dynasties coming here and there. And that's why it's so hard to repeat, because people get paid off of beating your team after you win a Super Bowl. Coaches get paid for beating your team after you win a Super Bowl. And that target is hard to play because the league's so fucking smart. You guys know that. Everyone can scheme for everyone. Everyone's got good players.
Teams are literally constructed now to beat teams. I know the Bills quite literally
were chasing the Bills were chasing the Chiefs, and then the team,
they almost had them.
To beat changed. It's like it's like an arms race. It's like in the NFC West when you've got Kittle and then they draft the kid in Arizona who's the Clemson kid that's supposed to be able to cover him. Like you make these picks in division now to defend players. You alter your scheme in division to beat a team. Anyways, I just think what Jules said is really true, and I didn't realize it fully, like people tell you, but until you experience it. In 2018, that was one of the hardest years for me. And I've been on 1-15 and 2-14 teams like my whole career, Sam. So like this was the first 8 years of my career, nobody watched us play. Like bad teams, bro.
True.
So yeah, Kyle's like,
except for me,
not consistently.
Except for me, I was in rehab watching.
So, anyways, this year was tough. We were like 4-4 at one point, or 4 we were. The city and Philly's really tough. Like Philly, they're hard on you.
Oh, I remember I did a gig in Philly recently. I'm at a diner. The waiter, he puts the thing down, goes, "Go Eagles." Like that's how intense they are in Philly. I remember this was me. I'm a Giants fan, so I remember buying on the street. They were like, those guys selling those shirts that trash the other teams. I got an Eagles sucks shirt. Show how dumb I am. I didn't check it. It says Eagles sucks.
No.
Not Eagles suck. Eagles sucks. Now I just look like a moron when I wear it.
So basically, the shirt is sold to make you look like an idiot, which is genius.
Yeah, I got duped by probably a Philly fan.
That's so great. They're the best fans ever.
Like, this guy doesn't know grammar. Look at this dipshit.
They're the best fans ever for shit like that. Like they're just childish in a good way. And then and that year, but like we saw the other side of it. You come off that honeymoon where Nick Foles has a statue, Doug Peterson's a legend, all this stuff, and like you see how quickly it changes. Nick Foles has a book in my locker and shit like that. But Carson Wentz comes back. He's not himself. He was never himself after those injuries. He's still trying to find his way. But Nick came in again late in the season for Carson, and
steady.
We really rallied around him. Like we had to win a couple low-scoring ball games late in the season. We go in and we play the Saints after that game, in fact. And I got to say, had we beaten the Saints, and Jules knows, like, it makes nothing for you to say what if, but, like, we could have played with them. I'm not saying we could have beat them, but that's how tantalizingly close you are. And we went to New Orleans in a game that we lost early in the season, down in New Orleans, 47-7. Sean Payton ran the fucking score up on us. I don't blame him. But then the second game, we come back. This is how much our team changed, and we really had them beat. Alshon Jeffrey drops a ball in 2-minute drill. We're going in to score and go on to play in the NFC Championship, and it's picked off, and that's the end.
It was in the red area, right? It was in the red area of the drop?
In the red area. I mean, the ball's – it's one of those, like, right in his chest.
It's like low red.
So So, anyways, and it wasn't just that. They had a fake punt and shit like that, but it just goes to show you how much a team has to adjust and change because you're almost shell-shocked when you come out of the gate. You're like, fuck, this is really hard. We're 500. People hate us. And then if you're good enough and tough enough, which we were, we found a way to get back on the horse, but not quite enough.
What
That's
a
how
night
the
that
NFL
was.
season. That's the NFL season, though. Like you said earlier on the year, explained to Sam, like you lose to a team 40 whatever to 7. When you play them in the playoffs, it's a completely different team. The team in those first 4 to 6 weeks is learning what their team can do well. Then those next 5-6 weeks, then you're sharpening those things for the end of the run. And then you go and see what it gets you in the playoffs. Now, with the butterfly effect for you, Kyle, after this game, I know it was a shitstorm in Chicago about Parkey, Good Morning America, this, that. But did you guys have some kind of confidence going into the next year? Like, hey, we got Mitchell Trubisky. We're going to have a second-year head coach, Matt Nagy, who we didn't expect. You guys weren't expected to go 12-4 and be in the playoffs that year. Like, were you guys confident?
My next real memory of that offseason was the Walter Payton Man of the Year, the NFL honors. I went to watch Chris accept his award, and Matt Nagy accepted Coach of the Year, and I ran into Matt at the bar. And I really like Matt Nagy. I've said some salty things about Matt Nagy, but I fucking love the guy. I would have blocked my ass off for him, and that tells you everything you need to know about him. I think the double doink got us all into our heads a bit. And you could see it when you returned for voluntary, everybody was there for voluntary stuff, obviously, as well as I'm going to exaggerate. I'm going to say 30 kickers for rookie minicamp showed up. And the only kicks that they took, the only fucking kicks that they took were from the 43-yard line left hash.
Oh, my God.
And I'm telling you,
Or the
we would,
37.
or whatever, it was 43-yard lines. 37, thank you.
This
6
could have been a
yards.
reality show, by the way. This could have been like
And
Find a
all
New
the
Kid.
vets are sitting. All the vets are there, like, guys, we are a good team. We just got to forget about it. Just flush it. You know what I mean? Just flush it. I remember the opening meeting was about it.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing is
It's like you got to move on.
But here's the thing, dude, and it's the same fucking thing with Super Bowls. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and coaches don't know how to handle this, how to make people forget about something. You don't make people forget about something by saying, forget about this, guys.
just hand us a bunch
We're
of
on
weed
to the
and
next
say,
year.
see you guys in July for
Just
camp.
flush it. I always
Did
yeah.
Kyle,
Go
Chris, did Bill ever make you forget about anything?
I don't
did he
remember.
train guys?
And maybe that works because I don't remember.
I think he fucking got you,
Well, did
bro.
Belichick make you forget?
Well, if Belichick did a good thing of knowing his team. If his team was doing well, he would cut you down. If his team wasn't doing too well, like in the Super Bowl, in
Dude,
16,
halftime-
he wasn't in there rah-rah, and he was in there like, hey, guys, we need to do this. Like, he can read the vibe of a team, which I think that's huge. And he does preach that, short memory shit all the time. Like, it doesn't matter if you do good or bad. It's on to the next play.
But it doesn't
You know,
happen
that's how
by
it is.
raving about, when we came back in 18, everybody in the building, we had banners that were forget about it, kind of things like that. I'm not saying they were forget about it as explicitly, but I can't. It's fucking hanging above the cafeteria that I'm supposed to forget about this thing. And now I'm walking in and everybody's tight in the ass because they're you're expecting that we're going to have this Super Bowl hangover because the first meeting of the year is, hey, it's about all these teams that have them. We're not going to have that, and we're going to do it by forgetting. That's not good. And it's the same thing with the double doink thing or come back after a tough thing. Football is short memory. And you said it. Bill was real good at this. Bill come in at the half, people are always like, man, that speech must have been fucking crazy, 28-3. I'm like, yeah, in a movie, dude. Bill was just down there telling us what plays we fucked up and how we were going to get back in the game. And that was it.
Well, to any woman listening, it pays to have a short memory.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe get over things.
Yeah, it does. But also for the men too. I want to be really fair.
Sure. But none of us are having sex with men. So mostly for the women.
I feel like Bill's
Really
first
for the
four.
women, yeah.
So
I feel like Bill's first few words when he walked in the locker, everybody's sitting in there waiting for coach. And Sam, these guys will echo this. It's quiet. It's kind of awkward. The offense is on one side. The defense is on the other. There's a whiteboard for each segment of the team, and the kickers are in the shower, beating their dicks or whatever. And
Your kicker's master.
so the offense and the defense are in there looking at which plays they liked, which plays they didn't. And then the head coach comes in from the back with like head of security, right? I feel like the door swings open and Bill Belichick, you guys are down a shit ton of points. And he's just like, all right, everybody chill the fuck out.
I mean, that was kind of it. I mean, and
literally,
we've all had coaches that bust in and the door flies open and it's loud and there's a fucking Sharpie flying.
All right, we're still in this thing.
Yeah, dude. Okay. Well, I'm not convinced because you're having a conniption right now.
See, Bill's an information guy. He's going to give you the information that he thinks you need to do better. I mean, but do you ever remember in like team meetings when he would hit the like thing?
Mm-hmm.
I always I sat so close. I thought like he would break his hand because he would hit it so hard when he was going over a point.
Yeah,
we got to fucking block.
Yeah.
We got to tackle.
Yeah, he was karate chopping that fucking podium, dude. And I just used to sit in that meeting so afraid. I've never drank so much fucking coffee in my life than when I lived in New England because I just didn't want to fall asleep in meetings or like be late to anything or whatever because it's very unique in New England. Like I've played a bunch of places under a bunch of coaches. I mean, or St. Louis, a bunch of coaches, but nobody ever met with the whole team as much as Bill did. And the pressure and the like paying attention to the head coach, as he breaks down, game film from Sunday, usually that's done, Sam, in separate, rooms where D coordinator is going to take the defense, offense is going to go over here. No.
Accountability,
and that really ups the accountability because, listen, I really care what Jules thinks about how I played. Jules probably cares about how I thought he played. Like that's a layer of accountability that you don't get. It's also teachable moments that, if I'm sitting in the defensive line room and I don't hear what he says to a special teams guy or to an offensive guy, I can't learn that lesson from my seat. And I think that's one of the biggest things in football is like, you better learn from other people's mistakes too. And you better know what's going on in the building. You better know the temperature. And everybody knew the temperature. And people like Tom got it from Bill. People like Jules. I saw Jules get it so bad one time. That shit was funny. I don't know. Jules, it was a Steelers game or something. But it was fucking so funny because I was like, here's one of your best players. Here's a guy who's been here a long time. Here's a guy who's a fucking legend in New England. And Bill doesn't care, because today it's about.
Do you remember what he said? Can we share it or no?
I mean, Jules.
Go ahead. I don't care.
I mean, it was. I don't remember exactly. I don't
even remember.
I was back in the back row flinching. It was something like. I was like in the back, like.
Did I fumble a ball that game?
Yeah, I think he fumbled a ball, and Jules. And he did the whole, like, we get it, Jules. It's all about you and all this shit and fucking just laid into him. And obviously everybody in the room knows it's not all about Jules. And we know that Jules is a great teammate and will go to the wall for us. But, Jules makes a mistake. And what that does is that provides a kid who's the 52nd man on the roster an opportunity to learn from a mistake without him getting yelled at in front of the room. Jules can take it. Tom can take it. Like guys that have been there can take it. And you got that idea real quick was like, Bill's really fucking smart about chewing people out. He's not going to crush somebody that's not ready to take that coaching. He uses guys like Tom or Gronk or Jules or, Solder, somebody that's been there a while that he can get after. And you got to learn from that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, he was a great football coach.
That's a great coach there.
Yeah.
What were the differences in the Super Bowl run in New England versus Philly? Like what pluses, minuses?
It was so much funner in Philly.
It's so
fun in Philly.
Only Patriots fans are hung up on this, and Patriots are hung up on this. You'd think all the championships they won, they'd worry about them fucking selves.
We get to like drink and eat and like our meetings and like.
No one said that. No one said. Here's the thing, Jules. I got a teammate.
We smile and practice.
Where did this come from? Who said that?
Lane Johnson.
What did he say?
He said, "I will." He was on Pardon My Take, which the deal on Pardon My Take. Like they
want you to say something.
They try to walk you into saying something. And Lane essentially said that he would rather have fun and win one Super Bowl than win 5 and have no fun. Which, like, he, obviously Lane was. Thought the option was still open for us to win another 4, so he was just saying, I like the Philly way of doing things. And I think there's this Patriot way that gets blown out of proportion. Like it's so fucking scary and tense up there. Like the coolest guys play for that team, man. There's some great teammates. We had a lot of fun, dude. The biggest difference for me was just, you're a part of something new in Philly. What did he
Just
say?
a lot of meetings.
Meetings, yeah.
The
Meetings.
difference is the fucking meetings and walkthroughs. I mean, it's a lot, but we had hella fun.
We had a ton of fun,
I had
dude.
so much fun when you were there. That was a great year. Chris was.
But I hear what he's saying. I mean, Philly hadn't won forever.
That's
and,
the fun
you know,
part. It's
and
like
the Patriots it's a dynasty.
it's a dynasty. And like, listen, admittedly, you know, my role in New England was I was more of a role player. You know, the first couple games of the year, I played a bunch of snaps, and the defense changed a little bit, and I became kind of like doing some other stuff. And that was totally fine. But when I got to Philly, I was doing kind of what I love to do. So it was a lot of fun for me in Philly for a lot of different reasons, and a lot of fun in New England. Every program is fucking different. And people freak out about this thing. New England is one of two very unique programs in the NFL, and they've also had an opportunity to build their culture over 20 years because of that guy Tom Brady and Bill and guys like Jules. And so that's a unique
guys
opportunity.
like you, Chris, that come in and for a cup of coffee and get a Super Bowl.
Cup of coffee and I'm out.
Yeah,
bro.
you get a Super Bowl.
There's a different energy though in Philly. I mean, like New England, Boston, they got accustomed to winning too much in every sport, and then in Philly, the dude ate horse poop. Like there's a different. No one's eating horse poop in Boston because they're spoiled.
Yeah, they are spoiled.
They're a spoiled fan base who would never eat horse.
Can
poop.
you admit that, Jules? That New England, if you're a 17-year-old, all those little 17-year-old kids that you meet with Tom Brady jerseys on and shaggy hair and Nantucket nectars in their pockets. All those fucking
Prove me wrong.
All those fucking kids are spoiled. And no offense to them, but they've been sports fans. They've been spoiled.
Maybe a Drew Bledsoe wearing Patriots fan would have eat horse poop, but the Tom Brady fans, never.
I feel that way about Chicago. I feel that way about Chicago to a certain extent when I got there with Michael Jordan and then Patrick Kane. The Blackhawks were winning every year. Like they were at the top of the town in every sport.
Yeah.
And that kind of raises some pressure for you as other teams, doesn't it?
Dude,
like,
and then the Cubs won.
When the Sox won a World Series, or the Celtics they won, or the Bruins won, and you felt like he wouldn't know that his team hasn't won. New York hasn't won.
Well, hey, that's a
The
that's
Yankees
a fair
had a pretty
shot.
good run in the 90s.
But it was, like it gives you that pressure.
I hear
for
you.
sure. Well, the Bears haven't won since the 80s, right? It's
85
85.
Bears. So it was the January of 86.
But you get that
Every
basketball
sport's different.
pressure.
Like I think, like you look at Pittsburgh, the Pirates fans are starved. It doesn't matter if the Steelers win. Like I think every sport does carry its own weight.
When I was in St. Louis, the only time we ever felt pressure was when the Cardinals won the World Series, because there would be more people in the stadium because they would be getting honored at halftime. That was it. So like I can tell you that it doesn't always work that way, but yeah, in a city of like champions and shit, yeah, like Boston's had this great thing going. And if you're 17 and you're a Boston fan, you're fucking spoiled. Welcome to like the real world now.
And
Tom Brady
St. Louis
retired.
needs it, man. How about that St.
moved to
Louis
Tampa.
pizza with that Provel cheese? That's the where do you stand on that?
I hate that shit. Emos?
It's pretty bad, right?
Yeah, dude, I can admit that. And that's another thing. They want you to buy into all their customs where you play. Like, I don't know, Jules probably buys into all the Boston customs.
I love lobster, kid.
Who doesn't like lobster?
I love lobster, kid.
Yeah, but that's lobster
Chowder.
better than
Chowder's
toasted
good.
ravioli.
Chowder is good. Toasted ravioli
like
is pretty
that chowder.
fucking good though, Sam.
The what?
Toasted ravioli is pretty fucking good.
It's good, but we're putting it against lobster.
Yeah, no question.
It just occurred to me that if I played for the Red Sox, me and Jules would have been best friends in Beantown. And we would have just been fucking.
Well, we were on the verge of becoming.
But
like,
can
we
you
were
imagine?
Like,
Like if I was a left-handed
You
pitcher,
guys both skaters.
my dream was to be the American Shohei Ohtani in Boston.
That would have been really cool, but it's
But
way less.
I'm a
cool to be
football
the
player and I'm
American
retired
Shohei
now.
Ohtani.
Dude, when I first met Kyle, I see this like 6'6", 330
I was leaving
pound guy
junior college, about to go to Oregon.
about to go to Oregon, and I saw him do the ladder drill. I'm like, this motherfucker is about to be a beast. Just off the ladder drill. The first thing I saw him do, he could do a ladder drill. And these linemen have good feet, but he had such great, quick feet at like 330. Like, what the fuck were you doing pitching? Why were you ever pitching?
Because he was good at it. Because he's like he's got magic powers, dude. Like anything, ping pong.
How fast were you
golf.
throwing? I forgot about that.
In height, I mean, probably in like 2007, I was like 96, 97 from the left side.
Whoa! And you were drafted by the White Sox, right?
Yeah, my dad told him don't draft him. He's
But
going
be
to
real,
college.
what round, though,
I was
bro?
a 20th round draft pick. So they did take a shot. They gave me a good signing option, and I said no. My dad and I said no, and mom.
Yeah.
And I went to Florida State. I had a DUI before the spring.
How about the Yankees?
Chris picked me up. Oh yeah.
Okay, so the Yankees came in town to work him out in high school.
Before school.
Before school, it was like, like school was later or something that day, and Kyle had an 8 a.m. workout with the Yankees. And Kyle, would you come to the top of the stairs? You had overslept.
Dad goes, "Hey, Kyle." And I come to the top of the stairs. He goes, "Yankees just called. They just left. You overslept." And what did I do?
And you go, Kyle looks down supposedly from the stairs and was like, "No." and there was like a solid 45 seconds of Kyle going, "No." And Dad going, "Yes." Just looking up the stairs going, "Yes."
You fucked it up.
And it was like,
He drugged you the night before. He didn't want you playing for the Yankees.
You know what? I could absolutely
He's a
see
Boston
that.
guy.
Yeah, he's a Boston
His
guy.
dad's a Boston guy.
He gave you NyQuil.
He is a townie, and
I'm not gonna lie, I probably gave you NyQuil a couple times.
he
when I had to
loves the Red
babysit
Sox.
you. No,
Howie.
Kyle was the best. He's the best. I'm not exaggerating. One of the best athletes I've ever played with or seen.
You're a sweetheart.
No, I'm not a sweetheart.
I
I'm
can
just
agree.
being real, dude. He just
I can
fucking
agree. Off the
athlete,
ladder
dude.
drill.
Athlete.
I knew you were going to be an 8-year pro after I saw the ladder drill.
I've never done the ladder drill since, Jules, so I appreciate
I
the,
haven't either.
either.
Wink, wink. All right, let's bring this back to the double doink. Any last thoughts on the double doink? You guys got anything else afterwards? A quick story, this, that? Nothing on the double doink, anything on the double doink, something on
the
double
ride
doink.
home from the double doink. I set the fire alarm off in the plane, which is not a good thing. So we can vape on our plane a little bit. Like we were doing a little vaping there, Jules, in the back. And
I know
like
exactly what you're talking about.
I had hit the pen a little too hard, maybe, because the fire alarm wasn't going off for a while there. And then I went in the bathroom. Everybody was asleep. I go back to sit in my chair, and all of a sudden it's like, bing, 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 like 1 a.m. on the way home from double doink, bro. It's the only time our guy Dom, our security guy, who I could do no wrong in his eyes, actually looked like he wanted to kill me. So thank God we won that game, because I would have done the same damn thing had we lost it, and that would have.
I'm
been
surprised you guys were
I
asleep.
heard on,
Usually
I heard
these
on Cody
planes are
Parkey's
wired.
flight back, he hit the pen and he just missed setting off the fire alarm. So,
It's funny. It's funny.
Yes.
We were at home, so he was on the first thing smoking to the studio in New York. Actually, his agent was on the phone call that evening. I'm sure.
Who, Cody, to get to GMA?
Yeah.
He got to tell his side of the story. I thought it was super fucking unfair that there's all these
It was.
Chicago fans with their hot dogs and their mustard. They were just screaming about him, like sending him death threats, and Trayvon Hester blocked that kick. I just want people to know
yeah.
that.
Hell of a play.
He did.
He did. What were you thinking? So they iced him before he hit it, and they
He
called a
hit it.
timeout, so
Oh,
it
he
didn't
hit
count.
it.
They
Oh,
iced
he did
him.
hit it.
He drilled
He
it.
hit it.
So what are you thinking?
And then the
I
ball
mean,
was flying true off of the hand, the supposed tip, which I didn't notice. And the ball was flying true. It hit, and then it bounced internally. So it's like, oh, it's still forward momentum. It's going inside the upright. It's good. And then it went dong dong.
It was really, it was more of a dong than a doink. It was like dong, it was like
That church bell, like when there's about to be a shootout in the old Western town where you hear that one church bell,
Yeah.
and then it's like somebody's about to die here.
two means
So we
that
should
Cody
we should
Parkey's
rename
about to
this-
die.
We should rename the game the Dong game.
Double dong.
The
Double
long
dong?
dong.
The double dong.
Long
game.
Dong? This is the Long Dong game because there's two longs.
Yeah.
And there's two dongs.
And I used to walk by Chris all the time, and he'd always say they didn't call. My name's not Chris Long for a reason.
Wait,
Did you not
is
say
that
that?
double
Is that-
negative? It definitely couldn't have been a double negative.
I didn't
Double
get that.
negative equals a
Gene.
positive.
It's a penis thing.
I didn't get that gene.
His middle name is Thicken.
Nah, dude. Yeah, naming kids is hard when you have last name long. Like,
It is.
a big Willie Nelson fan. That's off the table. Willie Long. That's a lot of pressure. You gotta
Yeah.
live up to that. It's really hard to name a kid with the last name Long. So my dad just named one of us Howie.
The
He
third
waited
one.
until the third one, and he named Howie.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh.
That's the real Long. He works for the Raiders, right, or something?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Scout, right?
Yeah.
He
you
was in
guys
scout.
all-
He was in scouting for 8 years, and he's been selling premium seating for their new venues since they started the planning stages. And the guy is a monster. He will sell fucking salt to a slug, dude. And
Yeah.
he is out there golfing. He's at the casinos. He's at the pool parties in a suit, like talking to fun. Like he's that guy.
He's mover and shaker.
He's a mover and a shaker.
That's so weird that Vegas has a football team.
Yeah.
Money.
Isn't that
And
weird?
that
When you go
venue
there-
has so many, like, you're going to perform there, dude. And I'm going to go, and my brother's going to sell me fucking tickets to it.
As long as I'm in Vegas and not Reno. I remember doing a I did a week-long gig in Reno, and I think my opener was, man, I've never seen fake tits and oxygen tank on the same person before, but here we are.
Well, eventually,
I think that was,
you know,
Those are built to
eventually,
last.
I feel like, yeah, exactly.
No, Reno's rough. Vegas is all right. Vegas is all right for like 2 nights, right? You guys don't stay there though. You get there a night early and then you're right out, right?
Get in, get out.
Yeah, and some teams will do 2-day West Coast trips, which I love. But coaches don't like it because I mean it's all about them. It's all about them. They want to get in and get out. And coaches, when you go on the road, you ever notice they tell you to stay in your room and then they go out and get drunk and have dinner.
They're the first ones off the elevator when you're going to your room in their street clothes, ready to go somewhere.
Yeah, but we got to go sit in the room. We can't even like walk around. So
that's not fair.
And they give you $52 in an envelope.
Fucking life ain't fair, dude.
Conduct detrimental to the team.
Yeah, no question.
Are any of you guys gambling in Vegas when you're there?
No.
Yes.
None of that.
Not me.
I like gambling. I like betting games.
Chris loves gambling, and we are both brought to you by WynnBET.
I got to see Jules. The last time I got to see him was at our headquarters. Me and him are teammates again, dude. So
I didn't see him enough, though. I was a little disappointed.
That's where I got the invite here.
What do you mean?
Well, he made it clear that I'm the favorite.
Yeah, he is the favorite. But Kyle,
all the
now
time.
that you're
I say
out,
it repeatedly.
now that you're out, you got to bet some football games.
I'm down to gamble.
It's really fun.
I don't know anything though.
It's really fun.
Hey, I want to thank you guys for coming and sharing your stories. It's unreal to see you both. I've never really talked to you both at the same time, I don't think. And I've known you guys for like probably 10, 15 years.
This is beautiful.
Come fucking visit us or let's get on the books for a hang, dude. Let's take our skateboards and go somewhere.
It's a long time coming.
We definitely will. I appreciate you guys coming on. Why don't you stick around for a quick second so we can get all this audio dialed up?
Sammy, where can I find you? Where can I find you socials and shit?
You.
It's just my name.
Okay,
I'll
great.
Sam
find
Morril.
you guys too. Yeah.
Morril.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
find you guys
just
too.
crush your socials.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it too.
All
This
right.
is cool. I've seen your stuff before. Now we got to
All I do is
meet
listen
you.
to comedy. All I do is listen to
Yeah.
comedy.
He comes in yesterday. He's all bummed. He's like, man, fucking Instagram. They always take down my shit when I use anything about pornography or pedophilia.
Why would they do that?
They're killing my pedophilia stuff.
Yeah, the
and I have
pedophilia-
like 4 new pedophilia.
You
jokes
are
today.
my genre.
Pedophilia?
That is my genre.
Okay.
Appreciate you guys. What an interview.
They were great, man.
A lot of in-depth stories.
The
Just-
vaping story is a classic.
The vaping story. Just 2 brothers fighting for their daddy's love.
You hit it.
We did hit it. We hit it.
You. It was you. You went in.
It's a team thing. Okay. This is a
Thank you.
team thing.
I appreciate it. I mean, that was is it the double doink game? Is it the double dong game?
According to Chris, it sounded like dong.
Yeah. Well, be careful Googling double dong because you don't know what's going to pop up. but
Absolutely not.
we'll
Whoever
see.
would have thought. Reminds you of the 2 girls in 1 cup.
We got to get the 2. That's a good game to break down. 2 girls, 1 cup. We get them on. And they're just like, yeah, we ate poop. And we're like, yeah, it's fascinating.
Now, who really won this game?
I mean,
Chris Collinsworth named it the double doink. We're over here talking about it, but it's clearly the double dong.
it's a double dong. It's the Eagles won, but I mean the tip is really the win, don't you think?
The what?
The tip on the kick.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't look like, I mean, I guess, but I'm thinking outside the box, the butterfly effect. You know, hypothetically speaking, if they would have won this game, as in the Chicago Bears, is Matt Nagy still there? Is Mitchell Trubisky still there?
Right.
Are they forming something? Do they gain a confidence? And confidence is huge in the NFL. When you got a confident football team, that's when you start compounding good things one after another, and that's how you get championship caliber stuff. And that didn't happen. When you look on the other side, Philly, they won the game, but then they go out the next week, like Chris said, and they had a shot to win. They couldn't do it.
And if they win, they're playing you guys again, right?
It was us to go to the ship? Yeah, well, that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles again against the Patriots? A 9-7 Eagles team in the Super Bowl?
I'm telling you that. I think it was Jack, what was the score of what was the Giants when they went to the Super Bowl in 11? Didn't they sneak in like that too? A 9-18 or 9-7 or a 10-6?
Yeah, what were we, Jack?
Believe they were 9-7. Let me check
my
on
God.
that.
See?
I love it.
That's that NFC East. Just
It's a bloodbath.
Sneak in and let's play some good football at the end of it. But corrections. Kyle was actually drafted in the 23rd round. He said the 20th. He was trying to scheme a couple, forward just to maybe, I don't think Kyle would do that because, of course, he's the more humble, long of the two. That would definitely be a Chris thing. Parky went on the Today Show. We found that out.
Not Good Morning America. So we were wrong. It wasn't. We thought it was Good Morning America.
GMA. No, that was a Today Show thing.
Yeah.
The Bears had 4 kickers under contract and 5 at rookie minicamp that offseason.
Wow. That's a lot still. He said 30. I think he was going for hyperbole. I don't think he was.
Definitely hyperbole.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's a lot of kickers.
didn't Tampa Bay do the same thing? Or what? Remember a couple years ago? Was it a couple years ago where they were going out there and they held like a tryout for random people to kick? If you're coming,
they brought back Martin Gramatica. Everyone showed up.
didn't he have a brother? Or was the other one?
What was his brother's? Yeah, he did. What was his brother's
There's Martin Gramatica, and then there was the other Gramatica, and then he tore his ACL doing a celebration after nailing like a 53-yarder.
Which is like, I guess it's the time to do it, but it's still a bummer. I remember Kevin Brown, the pitcher. I think it was Kevin Brown, got injured opening a DVD. Remember that? That's a rough one.
There's always those weird injuries in baseball. You hurt your wrist doing something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Opening a DVD. That's like, that dates you too. That's like, it's like now you just download a movie. Back in the day, like maybe in the 80s, dudes they were fucking up their wrists with a laser disc or something, Now
you could just get seizures from your video games, which I do believe. No, actually, a pitcher, he got arthritis in his wrist from playing too many video games.
That makes sense. Think about how much, you ever just like realize how much you text? You're just tight in here.
Yeah, I'm on the TB12 thing where they, work on my pliability, flexibility. I drink a lot of water.
What kind of water do you drink?
pH water, of course.
Whoa.
Alkaline enhanced, 9.5 pH. Just keeps you going.
It's delicious.
So what do we call this game?
I'm going double doink still, but double dong works too.
I like the double dong.
Let's go double dong.
We call this double dong. Now let's score this.
So should we start with stakes? This is high stakes. It's the playoffs.
Was this a divisional round? A
This
wild
was a
card.
This was a wild
so they
card
would have
round.
had 2 more games to get to the Super Bowl. So yes, it's a playoff game.
So it's like what, a 7 out of 10? Where do you put that?
I'm putting that at like a 68, a D-.
68. All right.
6.8.
Playoff, but it is the playoffs.
It is the playoffs, but it's an early playoff game. We're gonna have 18-1 Super Bowl with
That's
the
true.
Patriots. We're gonna have
So we're going out of 100 here. So
out of 10,
Oh, out of 10. 6.8.
6.8.
All right. Star power.
Star power.
Well, look. Nick Foles is coming off Super Bowl MVP. You got to
Super
give him
Bowl.
some respect for that.
Got to give him respect. You had a Bennett out there. You had both the long boys. You had you got Mitch. You had a Jeffries.
Golden Tate.
Golden Tate
Best
made
name in the NFL. He sounds like one of the outsiders or something. You're like, this is Pony Boy. This is Golden Tate.
It's
It's a dope name.
I've always thought that he's a great player too. And
He's awesome.
He got traded there 4 weeks before. Goes out, makes a big play.
Yeah.
Star power. I'll give it. What do you think?
Trubisky's the second overall pick, but you got to look at quarterbacks too when we're doing a game this big. And, this isn't the Patriots versus the Saints.
No. No. So that
We have to have some
7.5.
7.5 is good.
7.5.
Yeah, I think that works.
We'll give him a flat C in star power gameplay.
And you got to give star power also to franchises. Eagles and Bears are both legitimate franchises.
Very big. See,
yeah,
that is very true. Eagles being, a tough Philadelphia brotherly love. Everyone knows about how crazy their fans are. The Bears over here with all the tradition of great defense, a Super Bowl in 85. Almost, they say that's the best defense of all time with the old 46, the Bear defense. So, we had some star power.
Gameplay, what do you think? It was a good game. It was definitely, it wasn't
It's
like
defensive battle.
Right. So it's not like,
We had some good special teams plays by the punter. He was nailing them inside. We had a good kickoff return to set up the last losing kick, of course, by Parkey, which is terrible. But it wasn't a lights out, like a high scoring game. And that could be, I have a little bias because I'm an offensive guy.
And as a fan, I just, defensive battles are cool. I want to see some touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in a team game in the playoffs, which is very common because you're playing great football teams in the playoff, it's going to be tough. But I would say the gameplay was probably, 7-3, 7.
I was going to say 7-2, so we're on the same wavelength.
7. We'll go 7-2.
Yeah,
7-2.
I mean, even that might be generous. It was like a bloody. Whatever. Let's leave it. 7-2.
Gotta give them. We'll give it to them. The long boys, they were in there. Blood, sweat, and tears. Brothers fighting for their father's love. The name.
Double dong, double doink, whichever way you put it, you got to put some respect on that name.
It's a good name because everyone knows about it. Like when we said, like they didn't even know what we were doing. I don't know.
But we're doing big names here. Like it's not the Malice at the Palace big. It's not the 18-1 Patriots big.
It's the double doink.
It's a double doink. It's respectable, but we can't put it in that category.
You can't. But it's still a good category. It's still a rememberable game. It's still a game with names.
I go 7-1 for the name.
I agree. 7-1. What's our total with that one, Jackie?
This one comes out to a 7.15.
As an average?
As an average.
So the total will be an average. So 7.15 on the Rubik scale of let's scoring the games with names, brought to you by WynnBET. This has just been this was a fun one.
That was a great one. The Long Bros are awesome. Just the first time they revisited it too, which is pretty cool.
Of course. I mean, we're the podcast to revisit the best games with the best names.
That's it for this episode of Games with Names, brought to you by WynnBET. This has been a really fun one. Make sure to follow us at Games with Names on, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff. And I'm Sam Morril.
And I'm Julian Edelman. Thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our sponsors. And we'll see you again on the old dusty road.